going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to Frankie's Aquatics right here on the wonderful platform that is YouTube. Now, as always, I hope you've all had a fantastic week, or is at least the best we possibly can given the current circumstances. I hope you're all safe, I hope you're all well, and I hope you've not all gone too doolally with the madness of staying indoors. Just want to say, new t-shirt, it has arrived. Here it is. This is the one that you can actually buy from the Teespring store. It says it on the back. I like it. I like it a lot, I must say. I'm very impressed. I went for the premium finish, as you do, and it's really nice. It's a very good print, a very nice print, and it will last a very long time. Now, just to let you guys know, I also have a Patreon account now. It was something that a few of you are asking for in order to help further support the channel. So I decided to set up a Patreon account. You'll find the links below. It was a very loyal follower of mine that kind of brought it to my attention. I wasn't even aware it was even a thing. And I looked into it and I thought, you know what, I reckon I could really give some good content to these people. So I have set up a Patreon account. Now, if you're one of these people that's like wants to support but can't because it's money, and money is money at the end of the day, especially right now, please don't put yourself in a sticky spot. I've already announced it on Instagram at the moment. I've had so many people reach out to me going, I really wish I could, but I really can't. You under no means, I'm not expecting anybody to. I'm just grateful for you being here, watching these videos and asking questions here and supporting this channel. Believe me, you guys do plenty. But if you want to go the extra mile and you want to kind of have a bit of a behind the scenes sneak at Frankie's Aquatics, then obviously Patreon is always an option for you. You're under no obligation to do so. I'm not putting anyone in a sticky position. I just want to make it very clear. I'm not a cash cow. I'm just here to give back to people. And hopefully, in time, this channel will continue to grow with the support of people like your fine self. I just want to give a shout to my two Patreons that I currently have, Nikki and Cori. I'm very thankful for your support. You were quick. I'll be honest, you were quick. I literally posted it up on my Instagram and I went to bed and I woke up in the morning. I had two of you, so thank you very much. It's very, very appreciated. I hope you enjoy the content on there too. Now, this week's video is a very important one indeed. I get many messages in my inbox, as you can probably imagine, and one of the most common ones is, why has my axolotl just suddenly stopped eating? What's up with him? Is he okay? So today, we're going to talk about, why has my axolotl suddenly stopped eating? Let's go. Come on, off we go. Hello, Pudding. How are we doing, Pixel? As you can see, she's done the whole worm trick, look. So she had two last night, and then she's decided today to spit one out. And also, by the look of it, drop something on the screen. Is that on the inside or the outside? Let's have a look. Oh no, it's on the outside. Don't worry, Pixel. It's not food time. Now, there's a whole host of reasons as to why your axolotl might not have much of an appetite. So the best thing you can do is investigate a little bit further, which we'll do today, to try and work out what's going on in that little mind of theirs. All cute and gilly and fluffy, but what's going on inside of it? Why they're not eating? What's up with them? Let's find out. Now, the most obvious one straight away is water parameters and water conditions. Are they okay? So you need to check your ammonia, nitrates and nitrites, and you need to make sure everything is where it needs to be. If you need a little bit of help and advice with that, watch this video here, link below, and that will talk to you about the nitrogen cycle and how best to do it. But that's going to be the first cause of alarm. If your axolotl is unhappy for whatever reason, the first thing they'll do is lose their appetite. It can be quite distressing for the keeper, but usually it's something that we can do to fix and help them gain their appetite back. So water parameters first, but the most common one is actually temperature. If your temperatures are not where they need to be, which are here, I would say it, but there's two different, there's Celsius and there's Fahrenheit, and it confuses me, alright, it confuses me. So I just slap it on in editing. But definitely temperature is what you need to watch out for. That's the one that's going to cause fungus, that's the one that's going to cause loss of appetite, curled gills, and 9 things out of 10. Does that count? 9 times out of 10, that counts. It'll be your temperature that's probably causing you the concern. So if your temperatures are off, that is why your axolotl's appetite is also off. Do make sure your temperature is well within range, and just bear in mind if it is too cold as well, they will slow down their metabolism. Now, being too cold is much better than being too warm for an axolotl, but it will slow their metabolism down, which will in turn make them not want to eat quite as much. So if they're kept at really low temperatures, then their appetite will also slow. So a change of season could have an impact on that. In a colder climate, and you hit the winter time, or you hit the fall, and all of a sudden your temperatures drop, then that could contribute to why your axolotl has stopped eating. Now, another thing you got to consider is what are you actually offering your axolotl to eat? Now, we as humans eat just about everything that fits in our mouth, much like an axolotl. Now, unfortunately, some people come to me with all sorts of problems, and 9 times out, I'm doing this good today, 9 times out of 10, if it isn't the water parameters or water temperature, it's the food that they're offering their axolotl. Axolotls like variety, but that doesn't mean you have to go crazy and order him a lobster or something. That sounds mental, a lobster. Could you imagine that, an axolotl eating a lobster? Whew, that'd be a sight. But yes, you do need to offer good balanced food. You need good food that's going to create a nice staple diet. Now, although variety is key, keeping things fairly simple is easier for us, the keeper, and very happy and healthy for your axolotl too. So, when they're little babies, you'll first feed them baby brine shrimp. Usually when you've got them from the breeder or the pet store, you're going to have them switched over on, do you like the face it did there? Pet store. You're going to have them switched over onto bloodworm, whether that be live bloodworm or frozen bloodworm, both work equally as well. And as they grow, they will convert over onto pellets and to earthworms or night crawlers or whatever else you want to call the fancy worms. The worms that you find in the ground, okay? You get your spade out, you find them in the ground. Now, that doesn't mean you should feed them out of the ground, because that's a big no-no in my book, although people do. But you're going to need to offer very nice, appetising food. Some people like to feed fish. I don't do that. Again, personal choice. I think they're a bit of a hearty meal for any axolotl. And if you eat them and they sit too heavy in their stomach, there's a very good chance that they're going to spew them back up, or they're not going to move very much until that food digests. And that's not really ideal for anybody. So what I tend to find is I feed nice juicy earthworms, 2 if they're really hungry, much like Pixel, and then that's enough of a meal for them. So fish for me is off the menu for my axolotls. Shrimps, again, for me, is off the menu. You've got to remember, anything with a hard exoskeleton can cause problems with impaction. So be sensible with what you're feeding your axolotl. And if you're anything like me, you'll buy your earthworms yourself. You'll gut feed the earthworms, so you're actually adding a bit more nice stuff into your axolotl in regards to what you fed your worms. So buy your worms I buy mine in big, massive bagfuls from Willy Worms. Yes, that is a legitimate company, and I absolutely love them. Sounds terrible, but Willy Worms is where I get my worms from, and this is not a paid promotion or anything like that. I'm not being paid to say nice things, but they're a great company who offer really good aftercare with your worms. I had some that perished during delivery the other day, and they were very quick to get back to me, apologised for the inconvenience, and they instantly supplied me with a whole new bag of worms, which is fantastic. With worms comes great responsibility. Now, the wonderful thing with worms is they chop. Might be a bit gruesome, it might not be for everybody, but you can chop them up. So once they start finding their food and they start growing their legs out and start actively looking for bigger meals, you can start feeding them earthworms. Bear in mind, axolotls can manage quite large meals. It's rather impressive when you see them. Pixel is a master in disguise. You give her a long worm and she makes light work of it, she really does. but some of them are a little bit more picky. So if you are concerned by any chance that your axolotl might struggle with the meal size, then you can obviously chop it up. A little bit gruesome, granted, but it's kind of essential to look after your axolotl too. Feeding pellets are also a very good option for your axolotl. Just make sure whatever feeding pellet you're using, it's of a good quality. It's usually a case of you pay for what you get, which sounds a little bit cutthroat, but that usually is the way it works. If you pay a really low price, you're going to get a really low quality feeding pellet. If you pay a little bit more, you're going to get a better quality. There's a few brands that I've recommended on numerous occasions. I'll drop a few links below to where I get mine from. And then just make sure they're very high in protein. High in protein because they are carnivores, axolotls do eat meat. So a nice protein source is absolutely vital, and that's included in your feeding pellets. Now with anything in life, just make sure you're not constantly feeding the same food. So if you are happily feeding earthworms, don't just stick to earthworms, because 9 times out of 10, they will become reliant upon that particular food. So for example, if you're constantly feeding your axolotl earthworms, and then one year you hit this month where earthworms are a little bit tricky to buy, which does happen. It's happened to me in the past during this whole testing time right now. It's happening right now. Everyone's hiking the prices up, and it's becoming a bit testing to get hold of them at a competitive price. So that's when I offer feeding pellets. Now feeding pellets, again, if the quality is there, drop them into the tank. You can't really hand feed a pellet. You can when they're little, but when they get big, if you put a feeding pellet in front of them, they're guaranteed to pretty much try and eat your fingers as well, in the nicest, cutest way possible. It'll be a lovely way to go. But yeah, they're gonna nibble your fingers, which it doesn't hurt at all. It might leave a little bit of a love bite, which is kind of cute. But yeah, it's sort of, why do I keep my hands like this? Cup of tea. But yes, they're going to nibble your fingers completely by mistake if you try and feed them pellets. So what I like to do is I like to put them to work when it comes to feeding pellets. What I'll do is I'll take a small sprinkle, don't overfeed, because it's very easy to do with pellets. We'll take a few pellets, 2 or 3, and kind of drop them in around the tank. And then when the nose picks up that there's food in the tank, you'll see them actively looking for the food. That can be great in itself, because you just see the axolotl doing what nature intended it to do, hunt its food. And it's really rewarding because they're so cute. They're like little hound dogs. They put the nose to the substrate, and they slowly start walking around looking for food. They know food's in the water. Their eyes are just not good enough to kind of find it. So they rely really heavily on their very keen sense of smell. Give it a try if you haven't already. It is really cute, and I promise you'll get some nice photos as well. Now sometimes you'll offer an earthworm and they'll take one, and then you'll offer the second earthworm, they'll happily take it. You'll wake up the following morning to find one of the earthworms has been spat back out. You instantly think, oh no, what's happening? Is he okay? Is he not feeling very well? The chances are he's probably just full. They have an instinct inside of their brain that when they see something wiggling and they got a little bit of rumbling in their tumbly, they'll eat it. But sometimes their eyes are a little bit bigger than the belly, and they'll take the second one with the best of intentions of eating it. They get halfway down, and then they realise, you know what, I don't actually want this, and then they'll just spit it back out, and it leads to quite the gruesome discovery in the tank. You'll also find that sometimes, don't be too alarmed to go in there and instantly remove the second worm. As long as it hasn't been in there for too long, sometimes they will go back and eat it, which sounds pretty disgusting. Like eating some chicken nuggets, then going bleh, and then just leaving them and coming back to them at tea time like, chicken nuggets, Pete. Nice. Yeah, they're pretty gross in that respect. They have no manners at all. I don't think they know how to use a knife and fork for love nor money, but they're axolotls, they're not meant to. So sometimes there's just nothing wrong with them whatsoever. They're just full. They've had a big meal a couple of days before. It's still digesting within their stomach, and they don't have the need to go looking for food. You'll also find if you've got a pair that like to nip at each other, if you feed them bigger meals, that nipping will usually subside and stop. Because the reason they nip, they're not little buggers. They don't do it on purpose. You're going to meet the odd jerk every now and again. You're going to have one axolotl that thinks he's the big rooster of the tank, and he's going to go around being a bit of an argy-bargy bully. But as long as you kind of monitor it, you can kind of teach them out of that. The best way to do that is to offer good food at a regular basis. Then the need and the want for nipping will stop because they're full and they're content. There's no reason to go looking around the tank for something else to do. They'll sit there happy with that. You know what it's like. You've had a big meal, you get home, you unbuckle your belt and you just enjoy. You bask in the glory of the food that you've ate on that night, and it's just like, yeah, that was a good meal. Axolotls do the same. So the odd nip that you'll find, that little nip in the tail or maybe a missing toe if you're really unlucky, that will subside with good food. So that's another reason why they might not eat. They may just be already full. They might have been content with a meal yesterday. They might not fancy it today. I tend to go on a day-by-day basis with mine. People will often ask, how often do I feed my axolotl? It varies. Some will have a ferocious appetite and happily eat 1 or 2 worms a day, whereas others won't. They'll probably eat 1 or 2 good meals a week. It does vary. Now, as long as they're not stripping weight drastically and you're not concerned about their health, they don't look unwell, then there's no reason as to why you should really worry. Another one that's quite rare, but not completely impossible, is maybe your axolotl has something stuck within his mouth that you might not be aware of. Now, if you keep your axolotl on coarse substrate, for example, little stones or rough sand or even pebbles, there's a good chance that over time a little bit of that will be ingested. Now, that's not good for the axolotl at all. That's why I always recommend either a bottomless tank, which is kind of what I'm going back to if you've not noticed. I'm getting rid of the sand, it's driving me mad. I'm going back to nothing. I'm just going to go bare bottom. That sounds terribly filthy, but I'm sticking to it. But yeah, the chances are they're going to ingest the substrate over time. That's why a fine sand is recommended if you use anything at all. And what will happen with that is it can get stuck in their mouth, especially at the roof of the mouth. I've noticed. I've seen some really really scary stories where axolotls have got things stuck at the very top of their mouth, which obviously again needs a professional hand to obviously release that. And they can also become impacted in their stomach, and unfortunately that means it won't pass through like a normal, like a worm would or anything else they might eat. It will sit in their stomach. Sometimes they can even still be pooing and still be impacted. So basically the stuff that they shouldn't have ingested won't pass through their digestive system. Instead it will sit in their gut. Some axolotls like Leucistic, you can see through them. And you can see the impaction. It's like a dark mass within their body. Don't mess it up for their organs. Their vital organs are all in there as well. I'm touching myself very much in this video. Don't be alarmed, I'm doing it for effect. So if you are going to use a substrate, just make sure you don't use anything other than either a bare bottom, which is what I prefer, or better still, just make sure if you're going to use anything, make sure it's a fine sand and nothing more. The finer the better. Children's plain sand, it works wonderfully. That's a little hack for you. Rather than go out and spend £20 on a sack of aquarium sand, you can actually get play sand for about £4 a bag over here. Just make sure it isn't washed with any chemicals, especially silicone. I've noticed a lot of children's play sand is pre-washed with silicone. I think it's just to make it not so sticky for the kids so they don't get it all in the nails. But yeah, make sure it's got no silicone, because that ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But yeah, impaction is a very serious matter, and that could be part reason as to why your axolotl isn't eating. Now again, if you are genuinely concerned about this, definitely seek medical advice. You can kind of shift it yourself with cold water. I tend to find cold water will kind of alert their stomach and kind of make their bowels move, which sounds terribly disgusting, and it kind of is. It means they'll poo. You're pretty much guaranteed after every water change they'll drop you a little present in anticipation of the water being all fresh and new. It's like they do it on purpose. I swear they hold it in. They go, oh, it's thirsty, lads, hold it in. Here we go, the water's coming in. There we go. Have some of that for your efforts. Thank you very much, Beardy. But yes, long story short, cold water can absolutely encourage them to poo. So do make sure, if you are going to use a substrate, make sure it's of a fine substrate, which is such as sand. Nice nose, like I'm learning English for the first time. Only substrate, very good in it. And if your axolotl is not eating and is showing other signs, such as curled gills, curled tail, a little bit of fungus growing, it's probably a knock-on effect of many things as to why he may have stopped eating. It's not always as straightforward as just taking a quick look and working it out. Sometimes there'll be other factors as to why he or she may not be eating. So do take into consideration. Curled gills is a sign of stress, or it can be a sign of stress. Some axolotls do have naturally curled gills. If they're big and floofy, they will naturally curve forward a little bit. They do also do it when they're curious as well, so it's not completely an alarming sign to see. So don't instantly go running and panicking. Sometimes it's just the way they are. Now, if it isn't the way that they are and they've just started doing it recently, then that's obviously a sign of concern. Do make sure, again, you're very vigilant with your water changes, your temperatures and all that, and make sure everything's on point. And then hopefully the appetite, once you've corrected the problem, the appetite will return. But in all, if it's only been a couple of days and the little guy hasn't ate, don't be alarmed. Just take it as he's probably just full, he's having a bit of a breather, he's digesting a really good meal he's already had, and then he did it again. and just try them again in a couple of days' time. Axolotls vary on how much they eat depending on the axolotl. Like I said earlier on in the video, it does differ, so don't instantly ring the alarm bells. The chances are it's probably just having a bit of a breather, and in a couple of days' time, so long as everything's on check, he'll be absolutely fine, and he'll happily take a nice little wormy from you again, like spaghetti. And again, just to reiterate, if you are ever concerned and I don't get back to you quick enough and it is a matter of life and death, or for better or worse, you are massively concerned about the health of your axolotl, do seek medical advice. Again, I'm always happy to help, but I'm not a vet. I would say I might look like one, but I don't look nothing like one either, do I? I don't think I've ever seen a vet with this beard. Just a lumberjack. I'm just meant to be a lumberjack. But all joking aside, I hope today's video has kind of broke down the very basics as to what might be going on with your axolotl. By all means, drop me messages, again on Instagram, in my email. My email is one that I tend to get back to at least once a week. Frankie's Aquatics has also got a Facebook. I'm really terrible at getting back to messages on that, not through any fault of my own, but Instagram is better, because Facebook, for whatever reason, doesn't like to alert me of new likes, new comments, new messages. I have to manually go on there and look for them. So it can become a little bit of a chore, to be honest. So if you do get hold of me on Facebook and you don't get a quick response, that'll be your reason as to why. And of course, merchandise is out. This is actually something you can buy. How exciting is that? So do go over and hit the links below if you want to go and have a look at that fun stuff as well. Thank you. So thank you all very much for stopping by and checking out this week's video. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit that like button. It just lets me know that you enjoy the content that I'm doing. Also hit the subscribe button and ding that notification bell. And until next time, ta-ta for now. Woohoo! I'm neither a fish nor a lizard. I am quite magic, but not a wizard. I am everything you'd ever wish. I am an axolotl, I am an axolotl. Okay, I'll admit it, I was struggling for an outro, so I thought I'd sing it, yeah. What can I say? What can I say except you're welcome?
Oh!